Let's go Niners. Let's go Niners. Let's go Niners. Let's go Niners. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And it's a pleasure, always a pleasure to be on with the faithful, the Niner Empire. Y'all know it. The best fans in the NFL. It is game day. The 49ers are taking on them good old Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars enter the season, of course, with rookie head coach Urban Meyer. They got rookie quarterback Trevor Lawrence. James Robinson is their best playmaker on offense. And just breaking news I saw, I think maybe about 20 minutes ago on Twitter, looks like Adam Schefter has reported that running back James Robinson for the Jacksonville Jaguars will be active. So, the Jags' best playmaker, the Jags' best running back, he is active for the game. And, as I said before, he is their best playmaker. If we look at some of James Robinson's stats, he is pretty good. Let's look at his stats, Faithful. James Robinson is an excellent running back. If we look at his stats, against Indianapolis, he had 12 carries, 57 yards. Against Seattle, in a losing effort, 4 carries, 22 yards. But look at the games where he had over 100 yards. He had one game over 100 yards against Tennessee. But if you look at his yards per carry, it's pretty good. They're all over at least 4.75. So James Robinson, he is an excellent running back and faithful. We know that we struggle against the running game. That is one of our, biggest deficiencies on the defense. We struggle against the running game, and we're definitely going to have to slow down running back James Robinson. He has a high per carry average, and that's something that the 49ers should be concerned of. And shout out to everyone watching Jay in the Bay Facebook, Jay in the Bay YouTube, and Jay in the Bay Twitter. This channel, this stream, this YouTube channel is nothing without the fans, without the people who are conversing with me in the chat. Let's talk to the people in them comments. But that's the latest news right now from the Jacksonville Jaguars perspective, that their best running back, James Robinson, will be active for this game. Let's get into these comments. And for everyone that's in the stream, I appreciate if you could leave a thumbs up in the stream. Let YouTube and I know that you guys are enjoying the stream. SMU fan videos. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. How is your Sunday morning going? We are about, an hour, 26 minutes from kickoff from the Niners and Jags. It is a early 10 a.m. West Coast start. So that is something that we do have to keep in mind with the 49ers. They're a road team flying over all the way to the East Coast. Hopefully there's not too much lag. Hopefully the Niners start off the game with a bang. Hopefully the 49ers have the same intensity that they had against the LA Rams. He says, what's up? I'm doing good, SMU. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Jay, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. How is your Sunday morning going? I know you're excited for the game, that's for sure. Hey, Zeus, what's good? Hey, Zeus says, saludos. Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. I appreciate your support. Jay is clearly hyped up for the game. He is ready to go. I can't wait for the game as well. The Jacksonville Jaguars, it'll be interesting to see Trevor Lawrence. He is the number 1 overall pick in this game. Let's see what Urban Meyer tries to do against D'Amico Ryans in this defense. And I think there is a coaching mismatch. I think Shanahan, is a better coach right now than Urban Meyer. And I think that should show on the field. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they do have weapons offensively. Of course, running back James Robinson. They have a few wide receivers. They have a tight end, Dan Arnold. And they do have some defensive players as well. Josh Allen is a pretty good edge rusher. And he can get after the quarterback. Josh Allen, the defensive end, he leads the team in sacks with 5.5. So But he usually lines up on the left side of our offensive line. So that would be against Trent Williams. So I think Trent Williams should be able to keep him in check. Now, if he goes to the right side, I believe Jalen Moore should be active for this game. I did not see him on the injury report. So that is a good sign. Jesus says, hope it is not a trap game. Run the ball. It's funny you mentioned that, Jesus, about the trap game, because usually the trap game is when a good team, has, let's say if who has the best record in the NFL right now? It's probably the Cardinals or maybe the Buccaneers. But let's say if one of those teams were playing like a 0-10 team, I think that would be considered a trap game. But I don't think we've been consistent enough to warrant a trap game. Now, I will say this, that Monday night, that was a emotional game against a division opponent, hell of a win. And how will the 49ers, respond now that we have to fly to the East Coast against the Jacksonville Jaguars? And let's face it, the Jaguars are not a good team. They have young talent, but they're not a very good team. Let's just be real. They've only won 2 games so far this year. Both of those games have been at home. Now, they did beat Miami by 3 points. They did beat Buffalo as well. And I think Buffalo took them lightly. Clearly Buffalo is a better team than Jacksonville, but any given Sunday, it's about the effort. And clearly Jacksonville Jaguars, they had the effort that day. And they didn't care what the record was. They continued to play. So I don't think it's a trap game, but I agree with you. We do need to run the ball. That's for sure. And speaking of the running game, we got to talk about, Jeff Wilson Jr. Jeff Wilson Jr., obviously, unfortunately, he had that injury earlier on in the 49ers training camp where I believe he tore his meniscus in his knee. Very, very unfortunate. But if we look at Jeff Wilson Jr., due to the injury of Elijah Mitchell will be out for this game. He will not play. So that should be a heavy workload for Jeff Wilson Jr. and also Trey Sermon. Hopefully we see some Trey Sermon. I want to see Trey Sermon. Also, running back JaMycal Hasty, he is out as well. So it's basically going to be, Jeff Wilson Jr., Trey Sermon, carrying the load for the 49ers in this game. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are, I believe, top 10 in run defense. So they do pretty well against the run. And I think this game will be won, in the trenches. But speaking of Jeff Wilson Jr., he's almost at a milestone. If we look at Jeff Wilson Jr.'s stats, he's been with the Niners. He's played 29 games so far with the 49ers. He's had 229 total carries, and he's at 999 yards. So I have a feeling that Jeff Wilson Jr. Will reach that 1,000 total yards with the 49ers. So that is an accomplishment in itself. And I think Jeff Wilson Jr. will get that today. He'll have over 1,000 total yards for his 49ers career. So that is an accomplishment for the Jeff Wilson Jr. and for the 49ers. He has a promising future. That's for sure. And let's continue on with these comments. Jay says, beat the Jags, beat the Jags, beat the Jags. Absolutely. There's no reason why we shouldn't beat the Jags if we come with the same intensity that we did against the LA Rams. If we execute, if we protect the ball, I think we will beat the Jags. They're just not a good team. But that doesn't mean we can just show up there and just think that the Jags will lay down. No, not at all. Especially at home. The Jags have won. The only games they've won have been at home, and that was against Miami and Buffalo. So we still have to, play with the right intensity. Titan Sam, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Titan Sam. Hopefully your Sunday is going well. How are you doing today? Jesus says that Jimmy needs to spread the ball, not just Debo. No, I would agree with that. I think it's important to get a lot of players involved. Kittle, the IQ show. Also, get Warner involved if possible on those double tight end sets. But obviously, I think Kittle and Ayuk will be the main playmakers. I'm sure we'll see Juwan Jennings out there. We'll probably see Trent Sherfield. But what I think Jimmy needs to do, obviously he needs to spread the ball, but I love to see Jimmy be efficient on third downs. And that's something we saw against the LA Rams. He was very efficient on third downs. Even in third and long situations, he was able to fit the ball in tight windows. And that was just something that people, it's that's what good quarterbacks do. They're able to fit the ball in tight windows. They're able to get the ball to their receiver. And Jimmy has done that. He did pretty good at that last week against the Rams. And let's be real, the last 3 games, Jimmy G has pretty much played his best football of the season. Starting off against Chicago, and what was that? I think that was that Arizona. I think after that, Arizona, and then the LA Rams. So he's played some of his his best football the last 3 games, and hopefully that continues against the Jags. Jay says we need this win more than the Jags because we want to get that final wild card spot. I agree. I think it's too early to really talk about the playoffs. I think the 49ers just need to, be a consistent team on both sides of the ball and also on special teams. I believe our only 2-game win streak was the first 2 games of the year, basically. So can we put back-to-back, performances? We excelled against the LA Rams. We were pretty good in pretty much all facets of the game. Can we do the same against the Jaguars? Can we do that 2 games in a row? Because that's been the issue with this team, at least for me, is just the inconsistency. I think we've done pretty well the last few games in penalties, but it seemed like we were having a huge issue, especially with defensive pass interference penalties. I believe we still lead the league, the NFL, in defensive pass interference penalties. So it seems like that has tapered off a little bit, which is great. And I think we need to continue to, obviously, I think we need to maintain the standard. And I think the standard, I think we've seen it earlier on in the season. I think you could say the 49ers had an identity crisis. We didn't really know who we were on offense, but after running the ball 44 times against the LA Rams, man, it's like, this is what we need to do. We need to run the ball. And if Jimmy throws under 25 passes, I think that's a recipe for success for the 49ers. And I saw a stat on Twitter today. I'm gonna share it with you guys. And this is particularly for Elijah Mitchell. So I'm gonna pull this up. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So fun fact for the day for the Jay and the Bay viewers, and make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you're ready for some 49er football. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed to Jay and the Bay. The fun fact for the day, the 49ers are 3-1, 3 wins, 1 loss, when Elijah Mitchell carries for more than 17 times. Now, when the 49ers are 0-4, when he doesn't run for more than 17 times. So clearly that stat suggests that, hey, we need to run the ball. And not only running the ball helps the offense, but it also helps control the time of possession, which is key. Keeps our offense on the field and keeps the opposing team's offense off the field. So great stat. And hopefully Jeff Wilson Jr. will have more than 17 carries and we'll be able to control the clock. But that is one thing the Jaguars defense does do well. They are pretty stout, against, run teams or against the running game. If we take a look at, let's take a look at how they do against the run. So let's take Jeff Wilson Jr. off. Let's go to how the Jags do against the run. Okay, here we go. So right now, right over here, rushing. Obviously, the best team in the NFL right now, as far as defensive run, is the New Orleans Saints. They only allow an average of 72 yards. Now, if we scroll down to the Jacksonville Jaguars right here, right now the Jacksonville Jaguars are 12th in the league. They average about 106 yards per game. So that's solid. It's not top 10, but that's a pretty solid run defense. Now, if you look at the 49ers, You look at the 49ers right now, I thought we would be worse. Right now, we're 23rd in the league, and we average about 122 yards given up. I thought that would be worse, but it's probably because when we played the LA Rams, for whatever reason, the LA Rams decided not to run the ball. But the Jaguars are pretty good against the run, so we'll see what gives. Who will win at the point of attack? Who will win? In the trenches with the offensive line versus the defensive line. That's going to be key to who will win this game. Let's see. Jesus says, for the most part, the Jags have been competitive. They have been competitive. They haven't really been. I think they have been blown out. I could take a look. Let's take a look at their games. But let's take a look real quick. Let me pull it up. The Jags have been competitive. They have been blown out in a few games, but recently they've done pretty well. So if we take a look, I will pull this up real quick. I'll show you guys on the screen. Okay, so if we look at the Jags schedule, so they last played, let's see, November 14th. And that was against the Colts. Now, the Colts did have a big lead in that game. I think they were up 17-0, like in the first half. But the Jags did come back. November 7th, their last home game, the Bills versus the Jags. The Jags, they won that game. It was a field goal game. I believe in that game, the Bills had multiple missed field goals in that game as well. So it was kind of a fluky win for the Jags. Let's be real. They did get blown out by the Seahawks in Seattle. So that's something to take note. They did get blown out by Seattle. But yeah, they've been pretty competitive in their games, especially against the higher talent. Against the Buffalo Bills, one of the best teams in the AFC. They did pretty well. OYG Sakona. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. How is your Sunday going? I know you excited for the game. He says, what's cracking, Jay? Blessed Sunday. Same to you, OYG. Let's continue on with these comments. Jay says, give the ball to Debo. I completely agree with you, Jay. Got to give the ball to Debo Samuel. He's having an excellent season. I got to be real, love Debo. I didn't think he would have this type of season. Honestly, after last year, I envisioned Brandon Ayuk would have a season similar to the season that Debo Samuel is currently having. But if we look at Debo's stats, I mean, man, this guy is unbelievable. When we look at his stats, he's having an excellent year, and I think he's a few yards away from getting 1,000 yards for this season. So he's definitely going to the Pro Bowl. He has the potential, Debo Samuel, to be an all-pro player. But let's look at Debo's stats. Let's check out the stats. So far this season, he's played in 9 games. He's got 54 catches, 979 yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, he's been the Niners' best offensive player. There's no doubt about that. He's only 21 yards away from getting 1,000 receiving yards. And I believe he would be the first receiver since Anquan Bolden to have 1,000 yards in a season. And I think that was in 2014 when Anquan Bolden got 1,000 yards. So, man, I mean, that's crazy. It's been 7 years since the last time the 49ers had a 1,000-yard receiver. That's crazy. But Debo, man, can't say enough great things about him. He has been the 49ers' best playmaker. And he's just a hell of a talent. And that was an excellent draft pick by the 49ers. There's no doubt about that. And you look at his, he had in week 1, he had over 189 receiving yards. Week 4, he had another over 100-yard performance against Indianapolis, against Chicago. So, yeah, there's no doubt he's been balling out. And players, let's be real. Debo runs over that first defender, usually the first person who attempts to tackle Debo. They could never tackle him. Debo loves contact. is great to see. Of course, he's got injury concerns because of his style, similar to Kittle, but you got to love Debo and what he brings to this offense and to the wide receiver position, man. There's no doubt about that. And I concur, Jay. I concur. Got to give the ball to Debo. That's for sure. All righty. 49ers first takes. What's good? Thanks for that $5 donation, man. I appreciate that, man. He says, stopping in to support my friend and brother. Have a great 49ers Sunday and stream, Jay. I appreciate that. 49ers first takes, and make sure you guys check out 49ers first takes. I'm sure you've heard of him. How could you not? Check him out on YouTube, man. And I appreciate that donation, man. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to a great Sunday of football. And I think this is a game the 49ers, if we do what we're supposed to do, we can definitely win this game. That's for sure. John, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, John. So here are John's keys to victory for the Niner Empire. John says, number one, we got to stop the running game. Absolutely. And it begins up front. James Robinson is active for the game. I'll repeat, James Robinson, the Jags running back, is active for the game. He is their best playmaker, and he's a pretty good running back. So we have to stop the run. We got to protect Jimmy G. We've seen what Jimmy does when he has protection. When Jimmy has protection, going back to the Chicago game, he just had a lot of time in the pocket. He had time to survey the field. Jimmy G was looking to the right, and Jimmy G was looking to the left. When he has time in the pocket, he can get the ball to the receiver. I know Jimmy G kind of throws high at times, and that's I think I was watching the Manning broadcast of the Monday night game, and Peyton Manning said, if a quarterback can't follow through all the way on his pass, then usually that ball will be high upon the delivery. So it's important for Jimmy G to have time, not be rushed, and be able to follow through on his throw. That's important. And it goes back to mechanics. And that was a great observation from Peyton Manning when the Manning brothers had the Monday Night Football broadcast when we played against the Rams. But very important, protect the quarterback. The Jags do have Joshua Allen. He has 5.5 sacks. He usually lines up on the offense's left side, so he's going to be going up against Trent Williams. I'm confident in that matchup. I like Trent Williams against any pass rusher. So, but if he goes to the right side, that will be an interesting matchup for Jalen Moore, the rookie right tackle. That's for sure. But I think he'll be able to hold his own. John also says this game will be won in the trenches. I agree. Completely agree. And, Trevor Lawrence, he's a rookie quarterback. But Trevor Lawrence, this guy is a turnover machine. Let's talk about Trevor Lawrence, the number one overall pick out of Clemson. But Trevor Lawrence, there's no doubt he's a turnover machine, not very accurate throwing the ball. But this is what we expect from a rookie quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, he has struggled this year. I'm going to pull up his stats in 1 minute. But let's talk about Trevor Lawrence and how he's been doing this year so far in the NFL. Let's look at Trevor Lawrence. So he's played in 9 games so far, Trevor Lawrence. He's 2-7. He's only completing 58% of his passes. And so you got 58% of his passes, and look at his touchdown to interception ratio. It's just terrible. It's just putrid, faithful. 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions is not going to get it done. That's way, way too many turnovers. That's for sure. And if you look at his completion percentage, so last week against Indy, 45%. Last week against Jacksonville or against Buffalo, 57%. You look at his stats against Seattle, 59%. Miami was 60%. He had 2 good games, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Arizona, where he completed at least 64% of his passes. But he hasn't thrown a touchdown in his last 2 games. So, that's definitely concerning for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But if you look at the stats, Trevor Lawrence, he's having a expected rookie year. He's not very accurate with the football. And they have one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL. I believe they rank in the bottom 2 of average passing yards per game. It's only like 200 or something like that. They also only score on average about 14 points per game, the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. So I think that's worse, or it might be the Texans might be 1 point better. But those are the 2 worst offenses in the NFL as far as points scored, Jacksonville and Houston. And I don't think the Jags will score that many points today. I don't see it. But we'll see what comes to fruition. But if you look at their last games, they scored 17 against Indy. They scored 9 against Buffalo, 7 against Seattle, 23 against Miami. So right now they're averaging right around 15, 16 points per game. So I think if we keep them to their average of points scored, I can see the 49ers winning this game. That's for sure. But the defense has to make Trevor Lawrence feel uncomfortable. We have to get after him. He's prone to throw interceptions. And I think this 49ers defense can do that. That's for sure. But that was a quick look on Trevor Lawrence. Let's continue on with these comments. Oh, and one thing I wanted to add. So this could be a Jaguars revenge game. I'm sure people are like, Jay, what are you talking about, man? What are you talking about, a Jaguars revenge game? Well, former 49ers, Carlos Hyde, running back, and backup quarterback C.J. Beathard, and also former GM Trent Baalke. They're all currently employed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is the first time, we've played them with those players being on the team. So it will be a reunion. Carlos Hyde, I believe he was a second-round pick. He didn't really live up to, his potential, at least with the 49ers. Now, Carlos Hyde has carved out himself a solid NFL career, but with the 49ers, it was a disappointment. CJ Beathard, we know about CJ. We know he has some good moments, he has some bad moments, but the CJ Beathard experiment had to come to an end. And of course, we know Trent Baalke from his days with clashing against Jim Harbaugh, and also his draft pick blunders. He had some good picks, he had some bad picks. He tended to draft players that had ACL injuries, and I guess he thought the 49ers medical staff could just fix or rehabilitate any player. It doesn't matter the injury. But Trent Baalke, CJ Beathard, and Carlos Hyde will be with the Jags, and this could be a revenge game for Jacksonville. Let's go back to these comments. Let's see. Jay says, his first comment said, Debo is going to make the Pro Bowl. Who would have thought Debo would have a historic season? I agree, man. If he keeps this up, I mean, he could go for 2,000 yards receiving if he keeps this up, because he's going to get 1,000 today. And there would be 7 more games left after today. So there's a chance, he could get a 2,000 yard receiving season. That may be going too far ahead, but man, that would be excellent if Debo could have that. But there's no doubt Debo is having an excellent season, a great third year with the 49ers. Maybe the 49ers will sign him to a contract extension in the offseason. Who knows? But there's no doubt Debo is having a Pro Bowl year. I think he's having an all-pro year, if you ask me. That's for sure. Jay says, we do well at 10 a.m. games. We did do well this year. In the first 2 games of the season, they were road games at Detroit, at Philly, but they were at the beginning of the year. And that second Philly game, we did stay on the East Coast after the Detroit game. So, but that's something to take into consideration when the West Coast team flies all the way to the East Coast for an early 10 a.m. start. That is something to consider. David, what's good? Thanks for tuning into the stream, David. He says, might not be able to stop the run, but we need to slow it down. I am concerned about the Jags defense stopping us. Yeah, that's a great point. We've struggled against the run so far this year. I don't know if we'll stop it. I think the 49ers defense, the most important for the 49ers defense is we got to get off the field on third downs. We cannot allow the Jags to convert multiple third downs on their offense. We have to be able to get off the field on third down. And I think the way we do that is we have to win on the earlier down. So when it's 1st and 10, maybe there's a loss, maybe, a 2-yard loss, maybe, and then it's 2nd and 12. Maybe there's a pass, maybe it's incomplete. Then we have a long third down. So it's important for this 49ers defense to win early on the early downs. And then it'll make third down much easier because I don't think Trevor Lawrence is very accurate with the football. I think we can get after him with our pass rushers, Nick Bosa, Armstead, DJ Jones, etc., Arden Key, Samson. I think we can get after him, make him feel uncomfortable. And we know Trevor Lawrence is prone to mistakes. He will turn the ball over. He's got 9 interceptions so far this year. And I think he will have a few more after today's game. Jay says it's going to be tough because Urban Meyer is a rookie head coach. So I think Kyle should have a coaching edge today. I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Absolutely. Definitely agree with that. I just think, Shanahan has been coaching at this level, obviously much longer than Urban Meyer. Is his first year. And I think that will show in this game. But I guess the real matchup is, Urban Meyer against D'Amico Ryans and Kyle Shanahan against the Jags defensive coordinator. I don't know his name, but I think those will be the real matchups. Whose house? Rams house. What's good? How you doing today, Rams house? I know you can take it easy. You can relax today. The Rams are on a bye week. So it might be a boring day of football for you. But, every team gets these bye weeks. But thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Hopefully your Sunday is going well. And if you make sure you like the stream, if you're ready for some football, make sure you subscribe and you click on that notification bell. I would appreciate that. Jesus says, will O-line be the same starting lineup as last week? I believe. I did not see Jalen Moore on the injury report. So I would assume that he's a full go unless someone else in the chat can notify me. But I believe Jalen Moore at right tackle should be a full go. He did injure his knee in the game last week against the Rams. He did not come back in. But as far as Jalen Moore, I did not see him on the practice report. So on the injury report. So he should be good to go. And speaking of players out and active and all that good stuff. Let me bring up that banner. Let's see. So for those that are just tuning in, I announced this at the beginning of the show, but James Robinson, the Jags running back, he will be active. He was dealing with a heel and knee injury, but he's expected to be active against the 49ers. He is their best playmaker, but we'll see how effective will he be dealing with a heel and knee injury. I guess time will tell. And also the 49ers latest news, Jaquiski Tartt is active, and cornerback Devontae Harris was elevated from the practice squad. So he should be playing out there today. Unfortunately, for the 49ers, Dre Greenlaw is out. Jermichael Hasty is out. Maurice Hurst and Elijah Mitchell are out. And that means a lot of carries for Trey Sermon, or excuse me, not Trey Sermon, for Jeff Wilson Jr. that means a lot of carries for Jeff Wilson Jr. He should be the starter. Trey Sermon will be his backup. And Trey Sermon, he's got to get in the game. I don't think Shanahan's going to give, Jeff Wilson Jr., who just came back last week, 25, 30 carries. I would be surprised by that. But, you never know with Shanahan. We'll see. But that'd be interesting to see. I'm assuming Jaquiski Tartt will start at safety, and then Talanoa Hufanga will be the backup. And also, of course, we've seen Talanoa Hufanga on special teams as well. But that's the latest 49er news. And if Jalen Moore can't go at right tackle, then there will be Tom Compton, and I think he held up well against the Rams. But obviously, we would want, at least I would say, I'd rather want Jalen Moore in there to get those reps, get that experience, because I think Jalen Moore is a potential right tackle for this team. And Jay lets us know Hasty will be out. Yes, sir. SG Sports Talk Channel. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. How is your Sunday going? We are about 55 minutes away from kickoff. I can't wait. Marty M.F. Williams, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. He says, I have bets for Jimmy to not throw an interception, and I need Jimmy to throw for over 20 more yards than Trevor Lawrence. Interesting. Hey, man, good luck on your bet. And that was one of my questions I had for the faithful, the Niner Empire. That was one of my questions I actually had. It was about Jimmy G. And Let's see. So yeah, I had a for those that are watching, feel free to answer that question down below on the ticker. Over under 275 passing yards for Jimmy G. What do you guys think? I don't, that's interesting because if you look at Jimmy G's stats from the last, few games, he has thrown, except for the Rams, but he has thrown for over 300 yards. Let me pull this up real quick. So here are Jimmy G's stats. So if we look at here, last week against the Rams, he was 15 of 19, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. But against Arizona in the losing effort, he did throw for over 300 yards. Against Chicago in a win, he threw for over 300 yards. So, and in his last 3 games, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Hey, I'll take an efficient Jimmy G all day. But yeah, let me know. What do you guys think? Do you think Jimmy G would throw for over 275 yards in this game against the Jacksonville Jaguars? I think that their passing defense is average, but I think it depends on if Jimmy has time to throw. Obviously, we want to run the ball. But hey, if Jimmy can get some throws to Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle, and they can get some yak, Jimmy G's yardage can definitely add up. I'm going to say he'll be under that today. I think Jimmy G will throw for under 275 passing yards today. Let's see. Let's get back to these comments. SG Sports Talk channel. He says, what are my thoughts on Trevor Lawrence? Haven't seen too much of his play so far, but I've seen his stats, 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That tells me that, hey, this guy's a rookie quarterback. He's prone to make mistakes. Obviously, in the NFL as opposed to college, I'm sure him processing, what defense the coverage is playing. I'm sure that it's definitely slower now compared to college. But I think he's struggling. And that's what we expect of a rookie quarterback. That's for sure. But I think the 49ers can have the upper hand against Trevor Lawrence today. And I think if we make this offense, that's one of my keys as well. If we make this offense one-dimensional, I think that'll definitely help the 49ers defense. But obviously it starts in the trenches, and we got to slow down that running game. Absolutely. Appreciate you, SG Sports Talk channel, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. The Sports Star. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, The Sports Star. How is your Sunday going? Make sure everyone hit that thumbs up button. I would appreciate it. Who you guys play today? The Sports Star. Who do you guys play today? Let me know in them comments. Young Hitter. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Young Hitter. Young Hitter also says, let's get this W today. Hey, man, I completely agree with you. It would be nice if the 49ers can have another 2-game win streak on the schedule. And if we want to be taken seriously, we got to beat the Jags. I mean, come on, man. We can't lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got to win this game. Let's see. J.R. Meadows. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, JR. He's got the Niners winning 22-0. That's very interesting, JR. That's very interesting, JR, because I think you said, JR, that the Niners would not win another game this year. I guess you're reacting to new information, JR. I guess that's what it is, man. Reacting to new information. Tommy Huxley, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Tom A, he says Stafford is a bum. Interesting. Okay. What's good? Yeah, and going back to your prediction, JR, I think the Jags will probably score, but I think the most they'll score, it could be 17. I think it depends on, because I think the Jags, they could get some offensive yards and points in garbage time. Like if the game is over in the fourth quarter, I think they could get some points. But the Niners are the better team. And if we play our game, if we maintain that standard, running the ball, winning the time of possession, being good on both sides of the ball on third downs, executing on third downs, and I think the Niners will have the upper hand in this game. Tommy Huxley, I agree with you, man. I completely agree with you. We need to create turnovers. And the 49ers defense has done a pretty good job. Obviously, Jimmy Ward, man, this secondary definitely missed Jimmy Ward when he was out, and he made a triumphant return against the LA Rams on Monday Night Football prime time with those 2 interceptions against Matt Stafford. And he showed out. That was one of his better defensive performances, because we know Jimmy Ward's not really a ball hawk, but he was in the right place at the right time, and we were able to capitalize on those turnovers. And Trevor Lawrence, he's thrown 9 interceptions so far in 9 games, so he's a turnover machine. He's prone to throw the ball to the other team, and the 49ers need to get a few turnovers today. I think so. I think we need to continue that trend with this defense. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. Over under 275 passing yards for Jimmy G. Let me know in them comments. Let's see. Crazy Juice. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Crazy Juice. Hopefully your Sunday is going well. We are 48 minutes away from kickoff. I can't wait. SG Sports Talk gives us his prediction for the game. He's got the Niners scoring 45 points and the Jags only scoring 14. Wow, that's I could get with that. I like that. That'll be a lot of points. I think maybe we might be more in the high 20s, early 30s. We'll see. But obviously, appreciate your contribution to the stream today, man, and thanks for your input. Crazy Juice says, I hope Bosa gets 2 sacks in this game. Hey, I can see that happening. Definitely see that happening. Jesus says, our coaching staff teaching mechanics to all their quarterbacks, Trey and Jimmy, bad, simple habits. It seems like Jimmy has good mechanics, but obviously, his people's mechanics are best in ideal situations. So when the situation is perfect, oh yeah, he's got great mechanics, follow throughs with his throws. The footwork is excellent, but when he's under pressure, sometimes the mechanics they won't be as good because it's not an ideal situation. It's not a perfect scenario. So I would like to believe that the 49ers coaching staff is teaching good habits to all the players, not just the quarterbacks. But, a wise man once said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So that's when, those perfect mechanics need those perfect mechanics need to continue to still be there. But sometimes, hey, Jimmy doesn't follow through on his throws. Sometimes the footwork isn't good. Sometimes he throws off his back foot. But obviously what would help with that is a clean pocket for Jimmy. And I think the 49ers offensive line can do that. Jay says Jimmy should throw at least 2 touchdown passes. I can see that for sure. Absolutely. I can see that. He threw 2 touchdown passes. I think that was against Chicago and against Arizona. So obviously he didn't have any touchdown passes last week against the Rams, but we were just running the ball down their throat, so they couldn't really stop it. Luke Luna, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream, Luke. He says, keep your eyes open for Jimmy because we throw more this game. Interesting. All right. So you feel like Jimmy G will throw for more yards in this game. All right. That's interesting. Travis Berg Jr., what's good? Appreciate that super chat, man. Appreciate that donation to the Jay in the Bay YouTube channel, man. I appreciate that. Hopefully you have an excellent Sunday, man. You're going to be watching all the games. I appreciate you for coming on, man. But that's interesting that Luke says that we're going to throw more yards in this game. Well, I mean, I guess last week, if we're comparing it to last week, he only threw the ball 19 times. So, yeah, we might throw the ball more because I would be surprised if we run the ball 44 times again this year. I would be surprised by that. Shanahan clearly saw an advantage, in the film against this Rams defense, and the 49ers executed beautifully, in the running game and the offensive line. And the running backs were able to make plays. So, but yeah, I think Jimmy will probably throw for more than what he threw last week. I think he'll throw for more yards and more completions, or more pass attempts. Last week he had 19 pass attempts and he had about 180 yards passing. I think he'll do more. which isn't not going out on the limb, but yeah, I think he'll do more than that. Jason, what's good? I think he says we're going to smash. All right. I think we will too. SG Sports Talk Channel says thoughts on Nick Bosa. Man, he is our best defensive lineman. He's arguably our best defensive player, that's for sure. And the pressure he creates, agitates quarterbacks. It makes quarterbacks throw before they want to. Puts a lot of pressure, on the opposing offense. That's for sure. And if we take a look at Nick Bosa's stats, look at the stats. He's had a few multi-sack games, against Chicago, against Philly. He had 1 sack last week against the LA Rams. And there's no doubt. I'm sure you guys have seen it, but Nick Bosa, man, he gets held a lot. Nick Bosa definitely gets held a lot. And I don't know why the refs don't call it. Obviously, you could probably call holding on every play if the refs wanted to. You got to let them play. But, man, some of those steal shots and some of those replays where guys are just grabbing Bosa around the neck, it's like, man, you got to call it, baby. If he would have a lot more penalties on the offensive line for sure if they would call, those penalties on Nick Bosa, which are pretty blatant if you ask me. So, but yeah, man, Bosa's balling out. I think he's definitely having a Pro Bowl year, and obviously he's hell of a draft pick. That's for sure. Luke Luna says this is a perfect opportunity to put something else on tape. Run less around 25 times, give defenses more to study versus a lesser team, especially with the Vikings coming next. Yeah, the Vikings are obviously a very talented team on both sides of the ball. But that is an interesting perspective. Maybe running a little bit less, throwing more. Guess we'll see. I'm intrigued to see the game plan. Jimmy G has worked in shotgun a lot of the games this year. And there have been situations where the 49ers go 5 wide. And I like that. I like Jimmy G being able to survey the field. I think he has more time to look at his options when he's in shotgun. And as long as the offensive line can give him time in the pocket, hey, I think Jimmy G can find, the right receiver and throw him open. Blue True, what's good? Thanks for coming through to the stream, Blue True. Blue True says, wow, that's a lot of ex-49ers organization now with the Jags. Did not know that. Yeah, it's interesting because Carlos Hyde, he's bounced around to a few different teams after the 49ers. I know he was with Seattle. I know he was with Cleveland. And now I think he's with Jacksonville. I think he also was with Buffalo. So Carlos Hyde, running back, has bounced around to a few different teams. But, he's lasted in this league. He's doing something right. I think he's a solid back. But he just did not justify – with the 49ers, that second round draft pick. But he was with the 49ers when there weren't too many great players. He drafted in 2014. He was there for 4 years. I don't think we didn't go to the playoffs in any of those years. I don't believe. That might have been 2014. Was that Harbaugh's last year? That might have been Harbaugh's last year, but we didn't go to the playoffs. But he was with the team in some lean years, that's for sure. And now Trent Baalke, he's back with he's back in the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a GM there. And then, of course, CJ Beathard. So, yeah, it could be a revenge game for those guys. NYCE, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. He says, what's up, Jay? It's Niner game day. Let's go. I felt Debo would have a breakout year because of his play in 2019 and the games in 2020. He was productive. Because of his versatility, he is hard to cover. I completely agree. Like, the talent is there with Debo. There's no doubt about that. The talent, the drive, the toughness, the heart, there's no doubt. He kind of reminds me of a Hines Ward. As far as like his toughness, Hines Ward was, if you don't know, watch a clip of YouTube on Hines Ward and the blocks he would make. And he was an excellent receiver. I don't know I think he is in the Hall of Fame, Hines Ward, I think. But yeah, he kind of reminds me of Hines Ward. But, Debo, love seeing him run the ball. Love seeing him in the backfield. He brings toughness to this offense, that's for sure. And the only issue with Debo for me is just, can he stay healthy? That's the only thing. Because I know he battled injuries, last year. But hey, he's on the injury report every week, but he's still able to play. So The talent has always been there with Debo. It's just been a question of his availability. Tommy says the Lambs are going to lose after the bye. I think they play the good old Green Bay Packers. That should be a pretty good game. Andre, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Andre. He says, nah, the Rams fans are watching every NFC game today. He's going to be busy. And he's talking about Rams house. And I think, do the Seahawks play the Cardinals today? I think. So that should be a good game. Hopefully Seattle wins that game. And I'm not sure if Kyler Murray is playing against the Seahawks. I don't know. But I know DeAndre Hopkins is out for that game. But that'd be a good NFC West matchup. Seahawks and Cardinals. Luke Luna says, what I want to see out of Kyle is the ability to take advantage of teams' weaknesses. Jags have been pass coverage. The Rams don't like physical games. Go out and make the secondary pay. I agree. You know, the Niners did a great job last week. You know, the Rams on paper, obviously they have a good defensive line, a pretty good defense, and they actually were top 10 run defense prior to the Monday night game. But Kyle Shanahan, through film and also the play on the field, he just saw there were opportunity for the run game, and clearly he took advantage of that. So, but the 49ers want to prove that they're a good team, that they're a playoff-worthy team. You have to beat teams that are clearly better than. On paper, the 49ers clearly are the more talented team than the Jaguars. This is what good teams have to do. The good teams have to beat teams that they're clearly better than, and not just show up and just think, oh, we're the 49ers, you're the Jaguars, you're just going to lay down, because that's just not how it works. The Jaguars have proven that. They beat Miami at home. They beat Buffalo at home. They're only 2 wins. So they're a young team led by a rookie coach, rookie quarterback, but they're gonna play. They have nothing to lose, and they're at home. So the 49ers need to come out with the right intensity. I'm intrigued to see how this team comes out, you know, in the first quarter. Will they have similar intensity that we had against the LA Rams? And can we get some turnovers on defense? Tommy Huxley says, Luke, their secondary is trash. We got to exploit it. So Jimmy G has to be on today, but we can't be one-dimensional. I agree. Got to be able to run the ball and pass effectively. Let's see. Luke Luna says the Jags have good run defense, so I want to see Kyle prove he can run it against anybody, but also take advantage of what the opponent gives you. And to this point, that's a weakness in the secondary. Yes, the Jags secondary is weak, but we will be without Elijah Mitchell. So will our running game still be as strong? I know Elijah Mitchell has that home run ability. I don't know if Jeff Wilson Jr. has that. He's fast, but he's not Elijah Mitchell fast. But we shall see, because it seems like our running game has been best when we're running outside the tackles. And Jeff Wilson Jr. seems more of running, you know, in the interior of the offensive line, like behind the guards and centers. That seems like more of his strength. But, you know, we'll see. You know, if we attack the middle of that Jacksonville Jaguars defense, it could lead to success. Let's see. SG Sports Talk says, I think Jimmy G is going to throw for more than 275 yards. I would say he'll throw for a little bit less. It might be like 230, 245, but I think Jimmy G will have 2 touchdowns. Luke Luna says, exactly. Run around 25 times, like I said, but get Jimmy and the wide receivers in rhythm and confident against a lesser team, because we will need it versus greater competition. I agree. NYCE gives us his prediction for Jimmy G. He says that Jimmy will have over 275 yards. He'll go 20 of 30, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I would probably take that right now. I would take that right now for Jimmy to do that. Absolutely. Andre says, I'm just glad that I have a reason to justify the use of my NFL Sunday ticket after last week's win. LOL, looking forward to the games coming up to get wind and close the gap. Absolutely. Absolutely. And make sure you guys like the stream, you subscribe, click on that notification bell. I appreciate it. Tommy Huxley with some breaking news about the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, I heard Lamar Jackson has been he had an illness, and they said he was questionable to play. But yeah, that's crazy that he's not able to play. But and I heard about that as well, Tommy, about AB had a fake vaccination card. It's all good, Tommy, man. I appreciate your contributions to the stream. Just play nice, Tommy. Play nice, man. Let's talk about people's teams. Let's not talk about people, though, Tommy. But I appreciate your contributions to the stream, Tommy. I appreciate it, man. NYCE gives us his prediction for the 49ers and Jags game. He's got the 49ers winning 42 and the Jags only scoring 17. Yeah, I think the Jags will score just 17. I think they'll get some points in garbage time when the game is over. But there's no doubt we should be able to win this game. We are the better team on paper. We just have to, actually play. We have to put out that effort. SG Sports Talk Channel says thoughts on Jimmy G. Last 3 games, I think we've seen the best Jimmy G that we've seen all season. And I think he should be able to keep this up. He is, he can throw the ball high. We've seen that, but when he's accurate, he can fit the ball in tight windows. We saw that in the last few weeks, especially against the Rams. He had some great third down throws, where he fit the ball in tight windows. That's for sure. So, hey, I think Jimmy G's been playing well, and let's be real, the better Jimmy G continues to play, the less we'll see of Trey Lance. That's the effect of that. But I know people want to see Trey Lance and they want to see him start, but Shanahan, he only has one winning season with the 49ers out of 5. So he's not worried about next year. He's still trying to win this year. And I think that's why we signed so many, 1-year contracts. And that's why Jimmy G is still the starter. Shanahan wants to win games now. He wants to try to get into the playoffs, and I respect that. Awesomeness Sports, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Awesomeness. Hopefully you're having a great Sunday. Antonio, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Antonio. He says, hope Saints, Panthers, and Vikings lose today. 49ers are competing with them for the wild card spot. Yeah. Hey, I hope the same as well, man. I hope the same as well. Let's see. Luke Luna, he's giving us his prediction for the game. He says he's got the Niners winning either 31-6 or 28-9. Niners, Jimmy throws for around 280 yards. Okay. I can see that. SG Sports Talk Channel, I appreciate you, man. I feel the same way. We are 31 minutes away from kickoff. I can't wait. Let's see. KD, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, KD. How is your Sunday morning going? Let's see. Yeah, I agree with you, Jay. I agree. Bosa for comeback player of the year. Absolutely. He's having a hell of a year. Hopefully he can keep this up. I think he's got 1, 2. So he's got 8 sacks on the season already. So he's in line for a double-digit sack year. And I think he'll get some more sacks today. And yeah, I mean, he should definitely be in consideration for comeback player of the year. SG Sports Talk says Bosa is an absolute beast of a player. Absolutely. Oh, man. Antonio says, I always wanted the 49ers to win, but I doubted Shanahan and Jimmy G. I was wrong about them. They are doing good. And Antonio, I don't think that makes you, less faithful. I think you are being critical of the team and you are holding the 49ers to a certain standard. And I totally respect that. You're going to call it out how you see it. If the 49ers aren't playing well, then that's how it is. They need to get better. And you call it how you see it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Let's see. The Sports Star says the Titans play the Texans. So that should be a pretty easy win. Tanya, say yeah, what's good? Top of the morning to you, Tanya. How is your Sunday going? Thanks for tuning in to the stream today. I appreciate if you hit that thumbs up button. Let's see. SG says this will be a very entertaining game, and I hope teams can bring the fire to this matchup today. I think we will. I think we will. That's for sure. Oh man. Antonio says Rams have a brutal schedule off their bye week. 49ers have the third easiest schedule. they have a chance at the playoffs. I agree, but it all comes down to execution, and that's where we've been inaccurate, or I should say we've been inconsistent with our execution so far this year. Let's see. I talked about Debo, Jeff Wilson Jr. For those that just tuned in, Jeff Wilson Jr., all he needs is 1 yard to have 1,000 total rushing yards as a 49er. So that's something to look out for. Jeff Wilson Jr. should get that, obviously, today, as long as he stays healthy for the entire game. And Debo Samuel, I think he only needs 21 yards, receiving yards, to have the first 1,000-yard receiving season since 2014. And that was wide receiver Anquan Bolden, who had the last 1,000-yard receiving season. So a little bit of history in the making with Jeff Wilson Jr. and Debo Samuel. I think both of them should meet their marks today. We got to get into Jay's keys to victory for the Niner Empire. We'll start off with number one. I think a huge key for the 49ers defense will be we have to make this Jacksonville Jaguars offense one-dimensional. I think offenses usually work at their best when they can run the ball effectively and pass the ball effectively. And I think that's definitely what the Jaguars want to do in this game. The Jaguars will have running back James Robinson available. We'll see how effective he'll be. He is battling a heel and knee injury, but I think it will help this rookie quarterback in Trevor Lawrence to have an effective running game. So the 49ers need to slow down this running game. As a viewer mentioned earlier, we may not stop the running game, but we need to slow it down. So maybe D'Amico put 8 or 9 guys in the box. Let's dare Trevor Lawrence to make reads. Let's dare Trevor Lawrence to process the information much faster than he did in college. Let's dare Trevor Lawrence to make throws. I think that's what we have to do. Put 8, 9 guys in the box, and we have to slow down this run. And if we make the Jags into a passing offense, this will definitely help our pass rushers, Bosa, Armstead, DJ Jones, Samson, Arden Key. It'll definitely help them because they could just focus on going after the quarterback, rushing the quarterback. Let's continue on with these comments. Let's see. Appreciate that $4 super sticker, Blue True. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution to the Jay in the Bay YouTube channel. Let's see. Luke Luna says, Antonio, you just have to be careful about buying into negative hot takes because we have had proof of the team can play at a high level. There were some head scratchers, but got to support the starters. And I think we can support the starters. We can support the team, but still be objective. If they're not playing well, they're not playing well, and they have to get better. And that doesn't. I don't think that makes you. And I don't think you're saying this, Luna, but I'm just saying it doesn't make you less of a fan, or you're not as faithful if you say, "Hey, we got to do better on third downs. We got to execute on third downs. Jimmy, get that ball down. Be more accurate with the ball. Robbie Gold, you got to be consistent with making your field goals." I don't think you're just calling it how you see it, and I just think you're being objective if you do that. Let's see. Tommy Huxley says, "Let's go Seattle." But if they lose, I don't care. Is that what you mean? Let's see. Luke Luna says, "What's up, fam? Yeah, maybe he saw something we said or don't like what he say." Yeah, he probably talking about SG Sports Talk channel. Tanya says, "Kyle is out due to illness per Bleacher Reports." Kyle who? Who you talking about, Tanya? Let me know in them comments. Yeah, which Kyle you referring to? Let's see. SG Sports Talk. Thoughts on Shanahan? Well, Shanahan has been playing much better. Or excuse me, I should say Shanahan is coaching much better playing. He's coaching. I feel he's coaching much better. I think he's opening up this offense, but also the players are executing. And hopefully The 49ers will allow Shanahan at least one more year with the season with the team. I know he already signed a contract extension, but I want to see Shanahan work with Trey Lance next year for a full 17 game season. But yeah, let's see. Thoughts on Trey Lance? Man, we haven't seen him. SG. They say that he knows the full playbook, which is great, but we haven't really seen what he can do on the field yet. He played in one game, but as long as Jimmy G continues to play, I don't think we will, we won't see Trey. Antonio says only difficult games left on the schedule for the 49ers is the Seahawks and Titans. Not worried about the Rams. I mean, hey, that was one game against the Rams. Well, I guess technically people could say, well, that's 5 wins in a row. But I think the Rams will be motivated, the next time they play the Niners, especially if they need to win that game in order to, win the division or something like that. Let's be real. Those 2 interceptions, they were kind of fluky. And that definitely, turned the game because the 49ers were able to score on those turnovers. So I'm not going to say I'm not worried about the Rams because they still have talent. And then I'm sure they're going to be motivated the next time they play the 49ers, especially if they need to win that game. But yeah, it's hard to play the schedule game because we've been so inconsistent. So it's hard for me to say, oh yeah, we're going to beat this team. We're going to beat that team. I could say we're more talented than a lot of teams left on the schedule, but got to execute. It comes down to execution. Now, Jay and the Bays, keys to victory number 2, we have to maintain the standard. I'm sure you guys are talking about, what are you talking about, Jay? What standard? I think the standard is clear with the 49ers. And I guess this was in question at the beginning of the year. Who are the 49ers on offense? What do they do well? And, our standard that we established against the Rams was running the ball. We ran the ball 44 times. I don't think we'll do that again this year, but we need to be mid-30s at least. That's part of the standard, running the ball, winning at the point of attack on both sides of the ball, winning the time of possession. We had the ball for about, I think it was 39 minutes against the Rams. And that's, I think if we're expecting that, that's kind of wishful thinking, but we need to win the time of possession, because that means we're converting on third downs. We are, we're able to run the ball. So hopefully the Niners can maintain that standard on Sunday. And I think if we do that, it'll definitely give us a better opportunity of winning the game. Let's see. But Luke Luna says Vikings are going to play us hard. I agree with that. NYCE gives us an update. I appreciate you, brother. He gives us an update. He says Colt McCoy will start for the Cardinals against the Seahawks. So, I mean, Russell Wilson, he looked pretty bad last week against Green Bay, but that was his first game back after he had the, I think it was the broken finger. So we'll see how, Russell Wilson plays against the Cardinals. But that will be a good divisional game. Both teams obviously know each other. I'm rooting for the Seahawks. Hopefully the Seahawks will win that game against the Cardinals. Tommy says if the Seahawks win, we need to worry about them. Even if they lose, if Russell Wilson, we're going to have to be worried about them even if they lose, in my opinion, Tommy. We definitely have to be worried about Russell Wilson and his plethora of weapons with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. It's unfortunate for the Seahawks. I think running back Chris Carson, he's out for the year with a neck injury. That's very unfortunate. Carson is a good running back when he's healthy, but so far he's had trouble, staying healthy in his tenure with the Seahawks. David McNew says, Jay and the Bay, who do you want to win versus the Red Chickens versus the Sea Chickens? I want the Sea Chickens to win. Oh, yeah, SG. Well, now it's about 20 minutes away from kickoff. Hot diggity dog. I agree with you, Antonio. Only worried about Seattle because of Russell Wilson. They have the 2 studs at wide receiver. You can't forget about that, but he definitely is a X factor, that's for sure. NYCE. All right. He says Trey Sermon is going to be our X factor gain into the playoffs. 2019, Mostert wasn't our starter. He was the third back. During the middle of the season, he switched. He's probably working that formula again. I hope you're right because, I mean, you figure Trey Sermon is going to have to get some snaps in this game, right? Especially him being the backup running back. I don't think, Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to run the ball 30 plus times. This would be his second game back since his injury. So I don't think they're going to run Jeff Wilson Jr. in the ground. Jay Mouse gives us an update on Nick Bosa. He says he needs 2 sacks and then he will have 10 sacks. I agree. Agreed. And I think he'll have plenty more. I think he could get up to 15 this year. And I think he definitely will be in line for that comeback player of the year. KD gives us his prediction for the 49ers and Jags game. He's got the 49ers winning 28, Jags 13. All right, so number 3, Jay's keys to victory for the 49ers. Defense, you got to force turnovers. Trevor Lawrence has shown that he will turn the ball over. He's got 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And the defense so far for the 49ers, we've seen more success with turnovers on this defense. We started out strong against Detroit. Dre Greenlaw had 1 interception return for a touchdown. Then we didn't have any turnovers for multiple games until Josh Norman had a turnover where he forced a fumble out. I forget which team that was against. But since then, we've had a few games where we've had multiple turnovers. Chicago, the Rams. So we need to continue that. We definitely need to force turnovers on the defensive side of the ball. Let's see. Jay says, I know Dak has had a long journey for getting back, but Nick Bosa was on pace in 2020 to be in the running for DPOY. Yeah, I forgot about Dak. Dak probably would be in consideration for comeback player of the year too. Yeah, because Dak and the Cowboys offense, they're playing pretty good. Antonio says Deebo Samuel for NFL MVP. Hope he wins it. I don't care about the quarterbacks who usually win. Yeah, that's the thing with the MVP. Usually quarterbacks have the advantage in that. But Deebo, hey, he's definitely been the MVP for this team. There's no doubt about that. Tommy Huxley, Jay, who is playing in the middle opposite of Armstead, should be DJ Jones. Go DJ. That's my DJ. Go DJ. It should be DJ Jones, and backing him up, I think it would be Kevin Givens. And I think I might be forgetting one defensive tackle. The name is escaping me. It'll come back to me. But yeah, DJ Jones and Kevin Givens should be lining up opposite Armstead in that defensive tackle. Roberto, what's good? Roberto says, let's go faithful, bang, bang. That's right. We are 16 minutes away from kickoff. I appreciate the kind words, SG Sports Talk channel, man. I appreciate that. I would agree, man. Great minds think alike. Antonio, Deebo is the MVP of the 49ers season. Absolutely, man. Yeah, hit me up, SG. Hit me up. Let me know. Hit me up on IG, Twitter. It's all under Jay in the Bay. Hit me up, man. Let me know. Roberto says, is Greenland active? If you mean Greenlaw, unfortunately, Dre Greenlaw is not active in today's game. His practice window did open up, but I guess they felt he didn't show enough in order to be activated for today's game. So it will be Aziz playing opposite linebacker of Fred Warner. Let's see. It's all good. Let's see. Oh, okay. Tanya was saying, my bad, I meant the Ravens QB. Yeah, quarterback Lamar Jackson, he's out for the game due to an illness. Crazy. Appreciate the kind words, SMU. You keep doing your thing as well, man. Appreciate it. Roberto says, how good is Jacksonville's running back he's playing today? He's a pretty good running back. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think he is their best weapon on offense. I'm gonna pull up his stats real quick on the screen for you. But I would say what he does best are his average yards per carry, because he does, James Robinson, the running back for the Jags, he does have some games where, there's some forgettable games. His best game was against Tennessee, but that was in a loss. But against Tennessee, he had over 149, rushing yards. He had 1 touchdown. And against Cincinnati, he had 2 touchdowns. So he's been dealing with the injuries. He's had a knee and heel injury. So that could be why he didn't have as many carries in those last 2 games. But I don't know how effective he'll be. He's dealing with those injuries. Yeah, they say he's active, but we'll see when the 49ers start tackling him. We'll see if he'll be able to hold up. But he is a pretty good running back when he's healthy. To that extent of his healthiness, we'll see what comes to pass. Let's see. Jay says if Seattle loses, they will be out of playoff contention. I don't know what Seattle's record is. I think it might be 1 game worse than us. With that 7th game, you never know. You never know with that 7th game. Tommy says, "What if Jimmy throws a pick 6?" No, please. Hey, we hope not. I mean, we hope not. I don't think he will, though. I don't think he will. Jay in the Bays, 4th key to victory. Keep up the intensity through 4 quarters. It was wonderful to see the 49ers play with passion, play with fire. I guess NFC West divisional rival in the LA Rams last Monday Night Football. Can the 49ers play with similar intensity against the Jacksonville Jaguars? I think we're going to have to. We can't just show up and say, "Hey, we're the Niners. We're wearing our, we're wearing our red and gold," and the Jags are just going to lay down. I just don't think the Niners can afford to do that, and we're going to have to play with intensity on both sides of the ball. We're going to have to win, win on 3rd down, especially, and we're going to have to get some turnovers on this Jags offense. That's for sure. And we got to play a full 60-minute game. And the reason I say that is because the Jags, they were down against the Colts last week. They were down, I believe, 17-0 in the first half, and they did not quit. They continued to play. So the 49ers will need to do the same thing against the Jags. This is a young team. They're not just going to lay down. They're going to continue to fight. And they have nothing to lose. So 49ers need to keep up that intensity. Let's see. All right. I appreciate that $1.49 super sticker, man. I appreciate that contribution to Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. Luke, I appreciate that, man. We are 11 minutes away from kickoff. Let's see who else is in these comments. Antonio says, I think Seattle has to lose 9 games to be out of the playoffs. That would make sense because a wild card team will probably have like a 9-8 or 8-9 record. So that would make sense. So, you never know. It's the most happiest place in the world, Levi Stadium. The happiest place in the world, man. Tommy gives his opinion on the Seattle Seahawks. He says, I don't think they will be mathematically eliminated yet if they lose today. I would agree. I don't think they'll be eliminated just yet. KD says, I want Arizona to win because 49ers and Seattle will be fighting for the playoff spot. Okay, I respect your opinion. I would want that makes sense because if Arizona wins and Seattle loses, that means we'll be 1 game above Seattle, which is true. And we've already lost. We lost to Seattle already. Yeah. So that would make sense. But I guess I'm looking at it total from an NFC West. It would be nice if the Cardinals lost because their season is kind of spiraling out of control right now. We've seen this from the Cardinals before, where they started off good last year, Kyler got hurt, and they weren't able to recover later on in the year. So we've kind of seen this from the Cardinals before. Agreed with you, Tommy. He played pretty well against the Rams. But yeah, he has done that before. Luke Luna says, we can lose another 1, maybe 2, but they would need help if they lost to. I had them losing 5 or 6 this season anyways and making the playoffs. So if we correct course, we're right on track. Okay. Yes. obviously it's exciting to talk about the playoffs, but I just want to, can we see another consistent game on both sides of the ball for 2 games in a row? That's what I want to see. If the 49ers can do that, that would be great. And have consistent effort through 60 minutes. That's what I want to see. Let's see. Tommy says, I have a feeling the Niners start out slow again. I hope not. I hope not, Tommy. Oh, man. Number 5 for Jay and the Bay's keys to victory. We got to win at the point of attack. Faithful, y'all know it. The game is won and lost in the trenches, and we're going to have to, create time in the pocket for Jimmy G to look to the right and look to the left. We've seen what Jimmy can do when he has a clean pocket and he is well protected. We've also seen what this running game can do. And we're going to have to win at the point of attack on the defensive front. I think the defensive front outside of Bosa and Armstead has been maybe a skosh, just a little bit of a disappointment. But we're going to have to slow down this run game. And as I mentioned, to slow down the run game, I think the Niners need to put 8-9 guys in the box, make it very difficult for that run game to have positive yardage. And let's make Trevor Lawrence read coverages, make the accurate throw. Let's make Trevor Lawrence do that, because we've seen that he can he will turn the ball over. That's for sure. Job, what's good? Thanks for tuning into the stream, Job. Job is an Indianapolis Colts fan. He says, yo, what's up? We play the Bills today. That's going to be a good game. Colts and Bills, that should be a pretty good game, man. Two pretty good teams. Tommy says, I'm not a fan of the stadium. What? How could you not be a fan of the happiest place in the world? I'm standing in front of there right now. Levi Stadium. Y'all see the background? happiest place in the world, Tommy. Luke Luna says, Tommy, you have to love it. It's the home of the faithful, the Niner Empire. David Renteria, what's good? For those that don't know, David Renteria is an Arizona Cardinals fan. He says, y'all ain't making the playoffs. Don't y'all understand? Y'all just better worry about the AZ Cardinals and winning another game. That's what y'all better worry about. Because Colt McCoy is back at the helm. And when is Kyler and D-Hop coming back? That's what y'all need to worry about. Y'all got big problems over there in AC, because we've seen this team self-destruct like they did last year. So y'all need to worry about that, man. Let's see. Tommy Huxley says Hollister is on the Jags from Seattle. I guess he is inactive today. Okay. I think they have another tight end in Dan Arnold too, I believe. So Jay says, David, you guys lost to Cam Newton, so be quiet. David Renteria says 49ers and Seahawks ain't making the playoffs. Shaking my head. Are y'all slow to realize? Well, 7 teams can make the playoffs, and there, nothing is official, especially when the Cardinals are losing games, left and right. So, we'll see. We'll see. Tommy says, David, y'all haven't made the playoffs in years. Very true, man. That is very, very true. The Cardinals have not made the playoffs with Kyler Murray and with Cliff Kingsbury as the head coach. So, hey, the Cardinals, you guys, it's good to be confident, but when are you getting your star players back? That's something that you guys have to be concerned about. Let's see. Let's continue on with these comments. Jay says, David Renteria, we still have a chance. That's right. But I just want to, let's play consistently for this next game against Jacksonville. We're clearly the better team, but let's see how we come out and play. That's what I want to see. Let's see. I'm gonna head out in a few minutes. Let's see. I just want to make sure I don't forget any comments. Luke Luna says David has a lot to say because it looks like Arizona might finally see the first round of playoffs. We'll see, man. There's still, I think, 7 more games to go, so we will see. Let's get it. 4 minutes away. Yeah, Colt McCoy. Yeah, he did do pretty well. And I was shocked by that. Let's see. Livy's World. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Livy's World. I know you ready for game day. We about a few minutes away from kickoff. So let's see. Corey Davis says, have a great day. I'm about to watch the 49ers beat the Jags. Absolutely. Let's see. Absolutely, man. Happiest place in the world, Levi Stadium. You know it, man. Well, I appreciate everyone coming on to the stream today. Shout out to everyone. Luke Luna, 49ers First Takes. Blue True, you guys left super chats. I appreciate that. Thank you for continuing to contribute to the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. I appreciate those donations. Shout out to everyone watching Jay and the Bay Facebook, Jay and the Bay YouTube, Jay and the Bay Twitter. I appreciate that. Shout out to everyone who was in the comments today. I appreciate those. I appreciate you guys' participation. And I will have a post-game live stream come back, same channel, Jay and the Bay, at probably be at 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. And go Niners. And I think the 49ers will win this game. I think the 49ers, and go ahead, drop your prediction if you haven't already. Feel free to leave your prediction of the 49ers and Jags final score. But I have the 49ers winning today 24-14. That's my prediction. 24-14. I think the Niners will win this game. And feel free, leave your comments or leave your prediction for the Niners Jags game. Let's see. Catch you later, man. Appreciate you coming through, NYCE. Let's see. See you later, Jay. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. And for those that haven't already done it, make sure you like the stream, you subscribe, you click on that notification bell. I appreciate it. And thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. I'll see you guys real soon. Thanks for watching.